The first presenter today is one of my favorite people in the world. How many of you ever heard Jeff Usner speak before? Just out of show of hands, okay? A good, yeah, about 20% of the room. What's so cool about this presentation is usually in the past, Jeff has talked about how he media buys. And what's so amazing about Jeff is, like, not only is Jeff probably one of the most humble people you ever meet, he's one of the most giving people you'll ever meet. And you know, if you ever want to get involved with supporting some of his efforts and the team's efforts, I'll just say at Home for Hope, Home of Hope in India, they have 300 plus orphans that would be on the streets of India, where they have them in a school, they house them, pretty much everything, right? Take care of them. So it's pretty amazing stuff. So this guy is like one of the best people in the world that I would die for, and has always supported me in anything I've ever done. And let's see, how can I brag about you more, Jeff? Anytime we've ever done like marketing, I just told him like, he asked me what was the biggest takeaway from yesterday, and I told him what it was for me. He's like, yeah, I've been doing that for like 10 years. Okay, what else was your biggest takeaway?
15 years.
Yeah, 15 years. But something recently we were talking about was something he's cracked the code on, and Jeff does over, 70,000 leads a day, maybe more now, and has so many exciting things going on, is a great example of the importance of monetizing every point of your visitors' interaction with your site and beyond your site. And over the last 6 to 9 months has really drilled down on push notifications. So, and how to monetize that. So that's going to be his presentation today. And let's just give him a big, warm, big applause and go for the ride. So let's give it You're on.
I'm on. All right.
You got water. Good.
I do. I've got water. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
That's it? That's all you got? Well, thanks for having me here, Ed. It's really an honor to be here to speak and share with y'all today. Ed's been a great friend for, is it over 8 years now? Close to it.
I remembered 11 years. I'm glad I became impressionable the last 8 years, but that was kind of...
It's kind of like that thing. Anyway, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 to 9 years, great.
It's been something like that. It's been a long time, but it's been an honor to grow with Ed too, just in business, and watch him grow, literally his family.
Yeah.
Seems like, I asked him last night, when's his next kid? You're up to 7 now, right?
7 is the number.
7
Yeah, it is the number.
So anyway, it's been great to learn and grow and watch Ed and his businesses as well, and see him grow as a father and a husband and a man, worth learning from, and the wisdom and character and everything that he walks in is really amazing. So if I get a chance to chat with him, I definitely do it and pick his brain at all costs. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you, Sarah, for putting on the event as well. It's great to be here, and thanks for details. So, all right, this morning, I'm going to be a little more tactical today. I usually speak on media buying, reverse engineering, scaling, those types of things. But we discovered something, not really discovered, we've been doing something in our company since about 2015 called push notifications. And I have shared this now with a few groups of people. And so I'm going to actually proceed like you know nothing about it. And the reason is even Monday I sat in front of a large digital media company, 9-figure plus, and they knew nothing about it. And we were able to put some strategies in place for their business, which are going to generate millions, possibly per month, for their company. So if you know something about it, great. If you don't feel bad. It's okay. Not many people do. But it's something that we've been doing since 2015, and it really wasn't working that well for us. And I met somebody midway through Q3 last year who was doing really well with push notifications, and it got me to go back. I'm a competitive person. So I was like, why are they figuring it out and using it so well and scaling, and we haven't figured it out? I'm a little competitive, so I was like, all right, I'm just going to dive in myself. So literally, I think it was December 15th. So the information you're going to get is pretty new. I dove in with our company and started to just learn it and dial it in and start to use it to scale. And within 60 to 90 days, which would have been actually just about a month ago or so, we went to driving an additional 35 to even 60,000 visitors a day to our sites using push for free, okay? This is traffic before that I would have lost, maybe tried to monetize through email, which has been a real challenge in our business the last few years. Maybe try to monetize through remarketing, all those types of things. But push has been a big deal. So the title is How to Use Push to 10x Your Traffic and Drive Up Profits Without Affecting Your Current Revenue. And I put the little side note at the end because when I first started doing it, my mentality of putting something up on my website that asks you to download something, and it's browser-based, I'll go into what this actually is, I thought, wow, this is going to crush my conversions. And I'm a conversion freak, nerd, you know, I watch my numbers like crazy. Probably some of you are in here, I imagine. So I was very tentative with it, and I would place it in places I didn't really care about. So I'm like, if it hurts our conversions at this point, who cares? And then I learned that I could actually put it at the forefront of all my marketing and actually increase my conversions as this started to actually work like a pre-sale. So I wasn't seeing any attrition in our current revenue, but only building this massive list of people that at literally a touch of a button inboxes 100% of the time and open rates, as you'll see, as high as 50, 60%. So that seemed like a pretty good deal for me. Anybody do email maybe 8 or 10 years ago? We used to have numbers like that. I don't have that now, but so it started to really wake me up, so I'll get into it. So that's kind of our push story. This is just an example of one website that we have. This is all push traffic to a new site. Not even a new site, I'm sorry, this was an existing site. November 23rd, I just grabbed 2 days. We were doing 2,200 visitors a day. By the 17th of January on this one, we were up to almost 26,000. And the only change I could tell you on this was implementing push. So this site became a very profitable website for us very quickly. So what is a push notification? It's simply like a text that you get on your phone. My phone's here. If you're anybody on Facebook Messenger and you get messages, it shows up on your mobile phone. If you get a text message, where does it show up? Right on your screen. I've always been focused, actually I have a Facebook Messenger message there now, using ManyChat. So it gets your message delivered immediately. It works across, and it's a browser-based type function. So the user experience, which I'm about to walk through, is doesn't have a lot of friction. So your business should not be affected in anything but sending you more cash and visitors. So it's a clickable alert. All you do is click on it, you get a simple headline, and boom, it takes them to a website, whatever type of device they're on. They could be on a tablet, mobile phone, or desktop. That's kind of a little example of how it works. Did you see it just slide across? I think it's going to do it again. So you send it out, and it kind of looks familiar, right? You get a text, it looks like this. The difference is it works on tablets and desktop as well. Basically, it's a clickable text. Another example of a mobile phone getting a push notification. A tablet getting a push notification. A desktop getting a push notification. Okay, and what is this? You can set it to actually show up on your site and disappear, and I'll get into some of those strategies, kind of the details of how we do this. Or it can actually stay up on the screen until they have to deal with it. They being your users. So more definition, basically a clickable text, 100% deliverability, gets delivered if the user's on the device or not, and also if they're on your website or not, right? This could be 30 days later and they're no longer on your site. It could be 15 minutes later and they abandoned your cart and you want to drive them back. And I'll get into some of the examples of how we use this. So it works currently on desktop Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. And mobile users, Chrome, Firefox, so mainly Android. So I don't know about you, but most of our traffic, a majority is Android. We do have, actually it was up to about 24% on iOS this last week, which is interesting. Where it's currently not working is iOS and desktop, IE, Internet Explorer. And we have strategies around where it doesn't work on certain sites, and I'll get into that as well. So why use push? It's instant delivery. You're not having to deal with Anybody send email here? At all? Just a couple. Getting in the inbox, right? Getting blocked by Gmail, getting blocked by Yahoo, winding up in a promo folder, winding up in a spam folder. Those types of things you don't deal with push. You simply hit a button and it delivers the message to the device. You're not fighting with ad space. One thing with email is the average email takes about 6.5 hours to actually be opened. So if you're trying to create urgency around something that you're doing right now, email can be really ineffective, especially if you've got a promotion which runs out in a certain time, those types of things. Push is instant, so your users will get it on whatever device at any moment. Performance-wise, it crushes email. I came out of a meeting with our email team recently, and they were very excited about our open rates and our click rates, because we are starting to really get that dialed in again. And we do a lot of volume. As Ed was saying, we 70, 80,000 registers a day. Through our sites, we deal with a lot of data. And I walked out of the email meeting, and they were excited about the opens and the clicks and the revenue we're generating. And I walked into the next meeting, which was on push, and I was like, why are we even doing email? Literally. I was like, those are just, it made push look really good, let's put it that way. And I'll show you some of those numbers. So if you're sitting in here, has anybody ever actually heard of push? Most of you have heard it. Is anybody using it right now in your business? Okay, so just a few, all right? So it's still a new thing right now. And even if you are using it, hopefully you'll get a lot out of what I'm going to present today. So I geared this presentation as if you knew nothing. But if you do know something, you're going to get a lot of tactical strategies as well. Also, at the end of this presentation, we have a checklist internally that we use with our company, and I'll make that available to you guys to use as well, which I'll go through as we're going through it. So who uses push? Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn, Google, weather.com, pretty much any site that you're out there on. You might get a little button in the top, which I'll show you in a second. This is Basecamp and Google Voice as an example. I cleared my cache and cookies on Chrome. Went in here to Basecamp. Anybody heard of Basecamp? Use Basecamp, right? They want to push notifications to you when things are going on with your team. Google Voice, they want to push a notification to me that I just got a phone call, I have a message, SMS. Again, what is a push? It's just that message that is coming across the screen on any of your users' devices. So who can use push? Anybody communicate with anybody in their database in here. So it can be used in any type of business. Any business I've ever sat down with can use push, and will see dramatic results in their business. I don't know how to put it other than that. It's increased our revenue from anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 a day across our websites, and that's no extra ad cost. Okay, that's just like money that appears because we figured this out, if that makes sense. There's not a big cost in push. So I hope you get that. Email what? Doesn't replace email. So here's an email recently from one of our lists we sent out. 16,000 we sent out, 1,400 opens, 803 clicks. Opens and clicks aren't bad for just a general broadcast message, right? If we do targeted emails, actually we have open rates as high as 80% on some of the stuff that we do, especially if it's triggered, but this is more of a general message. Email versus push. I don't even know if you can see that on the screen. These are autoresponders that go out. This is on one of our sites. We have an 11 to 18% click-through rate, so not open rate, but click-through rate. When we start to target it down a little bit more, 30% click-through rates. So on those messages you see going across the screen, which get delivered 100% of the time, getting a 30% click-through rate or higher. Does that make sense? So send out 1,000 pushes, you can start to do the math. You send out, if your database is 100,000 people, it can make a huge difference, drive instant traffic to any site. So let's go through the process of how it works. I'm going to go through 7 steps, kind of get nitty-gritty on how we do it, and some things we've learned. And I see people who are actually using push, but not doing it very well. So one of the first things we do is we're going to create a pre-sale message. I'll just go through this, and then my slides will go through the rest. We're going to decide where to place it on our website. We're going to gather, let's call it an opt-in. We're used to that language in the email world. We're going to create messages that we send out. I'll take you through how we do that. We're going to click or send it, schedule it with push, you can schedule things out. You can build like an autoresponder series or a transactional series the same way you would in any funnel or aspect of your business that you're using right now. Cart abandonment, they leave the website, they have everything filled out, they even have their credit card number in, and they leave the cart. You can trigger a signal if they have your push notification to hit them up in 15 minutes and say, hey, we noticed this is in your cart. We'll go through post-send analysis, all this in 30 minutes. So we'll get through as much as we can. And how to test offers and the frequency of how you send messages. So things that, if you're doing email, you're probably doing a lot of these processes right now, or anything you're doing to work your data, your clients. It's just taking it into another medium. And not only that, some of the most success that we're getting is starting to use like cross-platform. So we have a signal or a trigger. If somebody opens an email but doesn't click, I can then hit them with send them a push notification with the same type of topic that was in that email on their browser. And it's going to increase my click-through rates literally almost by 100% in some cases. In other words, the people that didn't click on my email, when I send the push, they're such a hyper-targeted, focused person, they're going to click. So let's create a pre-sale. First off, on pre-sale, everything I've learned to do, even before I came up on stage here, what was Ed doing? He was edifying me. He was pre-selling me coming up here on stage. So edifying the next step in any business or sales process is critical, and you'll see your use, you'll see your engagement, you'll see your success go through the roof when you do this. Whether it's any step in your business. And honestly, I see in most businesses that I look at, people don't do this very well. So we're not going to treat push notification any differently. There's actually a technical reason too. So how does a user opt in? This is an example of a pre-sale. So on your website, you would just have a message when a user comes to it, and you can trigger this on any site, or I'm sorry, any page in your site, any part of the process. You can use different languaging. So this one says, want to make more money on autopilot. It says, yes, please, or no, I hate money. So two different really good options for people to choose from, right? But this is a pre-sale. If they say no here, that I hate money, whatever, it's off the screen. So there's two reasons we're doing a pre-sale. We're pre-selling the engagement on the next screen I'm going to show you. But if you were to just present push, and as you start to learn this a little bit more, without a pre-sale, if somebody says block or no, it's blocked for life on that browser. Okay? Which, that's not a good thing. Because you can never ask them again to engage on this medium. Okay? It would be like somebody opting out of email before they even have a chance to opt in for the most part. We don't want that. So that's one of the technical reasons of why we do a pre-sale, but there's also a huge conversion boost that we find when we do this. So we're going to do this little pre-sale message on the screen. Again, this is a desktop example. I think I actually have a mobile example. I'll just keep going through it. So then after somebody says yes, allow, the user is then prompted to allow it or not. Okay? If they just saw this screen to start, and they click block, again, you cannot do this again with them. So we're going to pre-sell them, and in fact, on that last side, if they say no, you might even engage them into some other series or something like that, once you get them engaging on that, depending on the flow of your site and your messaging. So at this point, if they click allow, it's now live on their browser. They've opted in. You can now message them, you can have them go into your marketing sequences that you've created. You can deal with things like cart abandonment. You can deal with anything. Like you were sending out an email promotion at Christmas for 25% off on a certain product, you can do that. You can tie this into, depending on what your product catalog is, some of the people we work with, the image, you'll see what a push looks like. We can tie it into your catalog, your SKUs, and it'll engage on what your user has engaged in. So pre-sale language. I'll give you another example of what this looks like, but just some, again, this is actually these things that you're going through, you can write it down, but you're going to get a checklist which is going to have all this in it, okay? So don't worry about writing this all down. I'll give you the site, just go grab it. It's not even a download, you just copy them. It's kind of ugly right now, but we've been so busy growing, I've just been trying to get stuff up. Have you ever done that in your business mode before? It's like, wow, there's a lot of response to this message, and the reason is because this works so effectively in your business. And this is really a game changer, again, like I've said in our other business, which caused me to launch this company and now help people with this. So in our pre-sale language, again, some of these principles are the same in any medium that you're going to work on, whether you're on site, whether it's a push notification, whether it's an email you send out. An email should do a great job of pre-selling the next step, engagement on the next step. If you run an ad on AdWords, Facebook, whatever it is, whatever your languaging is, you should always have a mindset. And I've bought, I don't know, at least over $100 million in media easily. But having that next step, that mindset of what do I want them to do in the next step, is very critical. So give benefits, have a strong call to action, use a good image. And actually we have a pre-launch checklist where we're going to find like what are the images that engage your users the most. So if you have an email you've sent out traditionally that does very well, a certain headline, if you have a certain image on your website, in an advertisement that you run, if you have a Facebook image that works really well, gets a much higher click-through rate. All those things we want to, that's part of the pre-sale checklist. I'm actually not going through that in this, but it is part of what I have for you. Use good opt-in language. Yes or no options. Yes, I like saving money. No, I like to lose money. Those types of things. If they answer no, send the user to another page, not to that page where they can opt out forever, okay? Or just go back to the screen. So going through the process again, they would click allow. Thought I had a mobile example. And as soon as they click allow, by the way, it's just off the screen. Like they don't see anything else. They're right back where you had them, okay? So if you have them on a page with a video sales letter, a lot of you might use that in your business. You can have a notification come up, they click allow, and they keep hearing it in the background, and when they click allow, it's just off the screen. It doesn't affect the engagement with your site. In fact, that pre-sale language I've found you can use it, and it's kind of weird, because we've actually used this type of stuff before without push, just using these concepts, things hovering over the screens, pre-selling what they're about to engage in on the website. These are concepts that we've used in our business to increase conversion rates, profits like crazy. The benefit of it now is, now when I do it, they click allow, and I have them on a list that I can send them messages to at any time. I don't know why I didn't understand that till just a few months ago, honestly. But I just think of all the money I saved on taxes last year, right? You guys ever have those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, if I'd have been doing this the last 5 years, you know, think all the taxes I would have paid. I don't know if that helps me or not, but okay, the second step is decide the placement. So where's it going to go on your website? So you would look at the analytics on your site. Again, they have more specifics in the checklist. Sometimes you could just throw it, if you want to start testing this, put it on a page you don't even really care about. Maybe it's on after they're through your buying process, and it's on a thank you page where the user pretty much just disappears, or you're not monetizing it, which I've found a lot in the supplement space. Generally, y'all aren't that good at making money off data after they've purchased, and that's in a lot of capacities. So this is actually going to help you tremendously. So you can start it there, and actually that's a great place to start. You can just build a buyer list of push notification people, right? All your buyers now you can communicate very quickly. A registration page, so it could be on the first, for my processes, how it works is that's the first page of engagement, is getting people to engage in the content. But the sooner you get them, the better, is what I've found. Because once I have them, now I can watch their activity on my website and trigger messaging based off of all their activity, okay? And you may or may not even do that in a lot of your business right now, but if somebody is into a process and you've gathered some intel on them, you always want to use that information to your advantage in the next marketing step, right? So the sooner you can get them to get this, you can start compiling that data, pushing it literally back into your database. So the third step. You guys awake? Yeah. This is my original talk this morning was more broad. I'm like, this is going to be boring. Maybe it'll be exciting. I don't know, but it's tactical. It's what we do every day. But I know this will make money and it'll help you in your business. Yeah. So this is why I focused on this. So the third thing, we're going to gather the opt-in. So we found anywhere from, just on a general page, 6 to 10% conversion opt-in on this. When we focus it a little bit more, actually I have one place where in a placement, as we've tested, where we get as much as 85% of our users will do this. Okay? But even if you just get 6 to 10% of your users engaging in this, a way of communicating without affecting anything you're doing right now, you're going to start to build a pretty massive list for your business, whatever that, if you do 100 leads a day, whatever, those leads can be a lot more valuable to you. You know, we talk about how many leads and regis we do in our business, but honestly, there's a lot of lead generation I'll do if I'm working in certain industries where I do 100 leads a day in that industry. It's a lot of money if I'm getting paid $1,000, or I'm getting paid $100 or $50 or whatever it is. So, Push Pros, which is the name of our company, we do A/B testing on everything, which you guys should always be doing in any part of your business. And we're finding $50 to $2 plus lifetime value right now on users. So just start to run numbers back in your business, what that could possibly be. I think in more specific things, and actually there's some of the stuff I'm going to tell you about because this is still new to us. I think we're going to drive those numbers up tremendously. Here's a mobile opt-in example, and it's an ugly one, which is probably why I didn't show it. That message on the left side, we always put at the top. So one message, you always want to test. You can test where the messages will show up, and this is really not a great example of this. This is actually what you would do wrong. I talked to somebody in your company, they were supposed to fix this. And I think it was, but I just didn't go back and get the screenshot. Usually you want your messaging to be on the top of the screen. Because again, the user's eyeballs, you got to understand user experience. Like that's a big thing that I'm very engaged with. What's the user experience? And how do you really start to understand this even more? Is you become a product for other people's push notifications, right? It's going back to what I normally teach on, which is like reverse engineering, looking at what your competitors are doing. How can you strategically use ideas from one industry, put them into another? Same thing with this. So this is on a mobile. So if they were to click on the left, yes, they would get this type of message on the right, which just simply says block or allow. Very simple messaging. As soon as they click allow, again, it's right back into the site. So that's the opt-in process. That's it. Okay, if I click allow, that screen disappears. I'm back on the screen on the left. So if that was an offer where I'm selling any type of product, service, we work with a company, they sell like boot socks and women's apparel. So they're just right back into that process of what they're in, if that makes sense. So the fourth step is you got to create the message that you're going to send out to the people, which is what you're just going to do what you normally do in marketing. You have broadcast messages. Sometimes you send messages out to your whole database. Sometimes they're more targeted, right? You segment out your data. Sometimes it's you have automated things you set up. And sometimes they're triggered events, or triggered events from somebody who was on your ManyChat bot and they got the message, but they clicked on it. Maybe you want to send them a push notification 10 minutes later, just backing up what they just clicked on. Okay, you can use those types of triggers cross-platform. You do mobile text marketing. I don't know if any of y'all do that at all. I send out a text, they click on it, I can follow it up with a push notification if I wanted to. Real-time communication, it allows you to re-engage users. Cart abandonment, these are all things I talked about. Message creation, three main things are the image you're going to use in your message that goes out. This isn't that much different than creating an advertisement, is it? Right? Your image, your headline, because it's a really short, concise message. I think you have less than maybe 120, 110 characters to have your messaging. And emojis work really well as well. So I grabbed some examples of supplement type products that we've done and do through Push. So you might recognize some of these headlines that you may have seen in people's marketing in other mediums, whether it's an email message that goes out, whether it's a Facebook ad. It's the same thing. You take your best image, you take your best headline, and you're just encouraging clicks. Okay? The beauty of this, I want you to step back a second from this. Because right now I'm teaching you how to use it in your own business. But I'll show you in a second, like you can monetize this in a lot of different ways where, I'll get into that. I think it's coming up. So, message creation. So use short messaging, right? Quick headline. So whatever your product or service is, things that you know that work. Short characters, strong call to action. Use emojis. Actually, the examples I gave you didn't even have emojis in. We found that when we use emojis, it definitely increases our click-through rates like crazy. We found that with ManyChat. I think, did Ezra talk? I missed a good portion yesterday. Did he go through like Facebook bots and any of that yesterday? Was that his talk? No? Okay, I'm going to run out of time probably on my part of that too. So, but here's one thing I've learned. This is like a huge nugget in our business because I've tested like crazy with Facebook and messaging and all that. But 10 out of 10, when I lead with push, it will beat my ManyChat or my Facebook bots that I might use to get engagement up, okay? Because what I'm going to do is the user, here's the thing, when you start to build with ManyChat, if you're okay, if you can complete your transaction, as soon as you go into Facebook Messenger, you're now on a different platform. It's away from your site. Does that make sense? Push will never take you off of your site, wherever this is being shown. So what we found is if we can engage on push, then I can immediately get them into a Facebook bot or something where I can start to encourage engagement there. And we're growing lists out of our push. We grow these huge ManyChat lists. And then out of that, we're building email lists actually. Because our opt-in percentages on some of the pages we do actually now, where I've said it's like 85%, I don't even try to get an email address anymore. I send them to a page where they click they want it, and boom, I'm just trying to get them to download push, and then on to the next process. This is all in the checklist. This is nitty-gritty stuff. But you'll have all this. So click send. That's the fun part, right? So let's say you're promoting something that starts at 6 o'clock on a Monday night, and you want everybody to know about it 15 minutes before. You're doing a Facebook Live event. You're doing a webinar. You're doing however you build your business. You have some event going on. This is going to get delivered 100% of the time and increase the attendance of whatever you're promoting. Okay? It just flat out works. So we use push for other list building strategies. I just said we build our email list with this. We build out ManyChat. We're testing stuff right now. If you want to generate phone calls, do y'all generate phone calls in your business at all? Or is it just strictly, okay, good. That should show you there's opportunity in that, by the way, because nobody really does it. We do it, and it works really well. People call in and they actually buy stuff still. It's kind of crazy. They used to do that, and they still do it today very, very well. So you can push out your offer, you can push out other offers, you can push out other people's offers, right? Create revenue that way. Whatever your marketing sequence is, you can do through push notifications. There's the examples again. Here's an example of a site. It's called Shop Walk in Love, if you want to see this as an example. Where they're using their push really well. They do a pre-sale message. The verbiage isn't the best actually on this, but click enable to sign up for push notifications from us. This is their pre-sale, enable or later. Getting a picture of that. Then they go to the next page, which I showed you an example of, right? It just says, hey, Shop Walk in Love wants to send you a notification. Block or allow. I allowed this. It's a funny story. I coach basketball. My kids' middle school team. So I was getting everybody like some shirts, t-shirts. And this is one of the first times I started to actually learn what push was because I was like, oh my gosh, this just worked really well on me. So I downloaded the push, and you can see the messaging. I actually had been in my cart, put things in the cart, and I left the cart. I don't know, there's a lot going on there, but the top headline was save 30% on everything basically that's in my cart. You still have items in your cart. Okay, so it hit me about 15 minutes after I actually left the site, and I just got distracted. Anybody ever get distracted in the middle of doing something? If you're as busy as me, that happens, right? And I was like, oh my word. So I clicked, and I go back to the site, and I complete my purchase, and I actually save money. So think of all the people in your business that you could do this with. And if you know that the average time on your site is X, if they haven't purchased or not, or if they've left your site, you can trigger this. You can speak specifically, send them right back to where they were in your marketing sequence, and create more sales. You guys think this could make a difference in your business? Yeah. Is it making sense? It is new, I know that. But we're going to help you with all that. So post-send analysis. I'm a big data guy. I always analyze what worked, what didn't. Just like if I was sending out email, just like if I was running a Facebook ad, a Google ad, whatever it is, I want to look at what's working and how do I improve upon that, and then how do I segment better. And this is really what I call our secret sauce. And this is in any of your businesses, in anything that you're doing, segmenting users more, getting more data on your users than speaking specifically to them. So we use like a survey process, just a few questions we'll drive a user into, they answer a few questions, and then we give them something for free, right? Whatever that would be in your market, it could be a free report, it could be a free book offer they download, it could be whatever it is. The purpose of doing it is we're putting them into a sequence, excuse me, to gather more information so that we can now send them out offers that are very specific to that user. We could also actually go back to our own products and gear. Instead of creating all these new products and scaling your business, which is a great thing to do, I've always found it's easier to scale one channel of what I'm doing and just get different offers around that same product, if that makes sense. If you're not doing that effectively, it's a good way to double or triple your business pretty quickly. And it takes a lot less time because you already have the back-end process in place. So all we're going to try to do is get more user information so we can target them. So for example, we find out, do people have diabetes? Do they have back pain, chronic pain, joint pain? Are they homeowners? Depending on what your markets are, what you do in your business, you can ask them any type of question and then start to profile the user. And then it's just like, if you use Facebook Messenger at all, you can tag users, right? If they've done certain actions. You can send out messages to people who take certain actions on certain things. So all of a sudden, your click-through rates can go to 80% on a message, and your revenue per click will go through the roof because it's so targeted. And then what we do even from that is we segment down even more. We'll actually send them to other pages and grow new lists. I use this in email a lot. I would try to email from different business names, different entities, doing it legally. But if they opt out of one message, I can still talk to them over here, right? Same thing with push. We actually developed like a network of just sites that deal with topics that they're involved with that they like. So if I find out they're diabetic, I can send them to a site that's very diabetic focused and do this whole process again. All of a sudden they opt in to a new list that's focused on diabetes. Does that make sense? So now if they opt out of my list over here, which was on some pain pill or they wanted to learn the latest, greatest, whatever, if they opt out here, I still have them here. And it's very specific to who they are. So this list is actually a lot more valuable and it will last longer. So you create lists within lists. That's actually been really huge what I just shared with you there. It's growing so fast. You can segment your data different ways. If they came in on certain keywords, what type of traffic it was, you can segment it based on a URL they visited or came from or within your site. Any type of action that a user is going to take on your site, you can gather that data. And here's the thing, you don't even have to do any of the segmenting stuff. This is more really tactical stuff. If you just want to throw push on your site and start talking to your people, you're going to make more money. That's just how it's going to work. I've got 9 minutes, so I'm going to go through some of this. So test frequency and offers. So how many offers do you send out and how often? Let me preface this with I like to push things to the limit, right? And then sometimes it blows up, sometimes it doesn't. So as we started doing this, we're like, all right, how many can we really send in a day? Like 1 a day, all right, this is working. Or is it twice a week? Okay, well now we're doing it in the morning. How many can we send in the morning? And we start looking at when the click-through rates are higher in our business and engagement. I'll get into that in a second. There's a feature where you can have that message come across. It shows up for 20 seconds and disappears, like on a screen. We use that on certain messages, but the main messages that make us the most money, we never hide it. It's going to show up in their face, and they either have to, pretty much they're going to click on it. Or they could swipe right, I guess, or left, or however that works. If you're only sending 1 to 3 messages a day, you don't use auto-hide. So this is just some stats in January when we were a little over 30 days into it, figuring it out. On one of our sites. And you'll see on the left, I did test sending out 21 in a day. It did generate 17,370 clicks that day, 827 clicks per push. That was a little too many. So, and they were getting hit with a lot of other stuff. So that was a little too many. It generated a lot of traffic in the day, but actually had a pretty high attrition rate that day. to that segment that we were hitting. But it was an extra 17,000 visitors that day. That was the 18th. On the other site that day, I only did 10, and it was another 14,843. So just between those two, there's a lot more people coming to our site that we would have never made money with before, right? They would have been in some other process, some other site. These users could be, well, they're less than 30 days because, I really got going in this in mid-December. So frequency is important. That's the bonus strategy I already gave you. Start with push, then build lists with other methods. I'm going to fly through these. This is ManyChat, which they just did some updates with Facebook yesterday with all the stuff that went down with data. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I don't know how well this is going to work if you're not already doing it yet. You've been grandfathered in if you are doing it. If you aren't, it goes through like a review process now. But this is ManyChat. We delivered this message to 1,621 people, 99.7% open rate, and a 56.2% click-through rate. It's pretty good, right? When you get that on anything. And this was a list that we grew out of another sub-list. Here's another one, 99% open rate, 50% click-through rate. We started to build email lists out of this then. This was created March 8th. That's kind of recent. I don't even know when I took this screenshot, but we had another 1,638 subscribers into this. They were opening 17.4, clicking through 7.4. So that's not all that exciting, but it's just another list I never had before. Does that make sense? I would have lost that user on that first experience, but now I have them on push, I have them on email, and I have them in Facebook Messenger. And I can create a platform that talks to across all platforms congruently, right? Do you see how that's going to drive up business in your websites, in your businesses? Okay? This is an Aweber account where we did this again. It drives, what does it drive? Maybe 1,000 clicks a day to our site that we never had before for this list. ManyChat, 98.7% open. I just went through that. So why do all these strategies? You're simply trying to focus on increasing revenue so you can go buy more media and promote more of whatever you're doing, right? Does that sound good to y'all? Yeah. Right? You're increasing the revenue per user. Somebody asked me last night, what would they say I do? It was Ed, actually. I think I'm really focused on just squeezing every nickel, penny, dime, anything I can out of each user while still delivering great value to them, okay? So that's what these strategies will allow you to do. So if you go to pushpros.com/Atlanta, that's where I have the 42-step checklist. It's not even a PDF. You're going to have to copy paste it. I just looked at it this morning. We didn't execute on that as well, but you get the content there. The entire process is in a checklist of what we do. What's that? So pushpros.com/Atlanta. I did launch a new company on this called Push Pros. We have an agency model where we can help set this up depending how, what we can help set up, whatever you would want to do. We also have a revenue share model, which is working really well. It's simple. We just put the code on your site. It doesn't affect anything you're doing, and we send you a check every month, okay? Because our team is focused on creating relationships, getting the offers that will monetize well on your data. So I have a team of salespeople that go get offers that are going to work on different types of data. I have a team that is focused on that. So that's what we do in our other core business as well. So that's also an interesting opportunity. If you're interested in that, just email michael@pushpros.com. I was going to have him here today, but he's too busy. So that was the bottom line. He's like, I really can't. Just give my email. That's for you, Scott. And you're at the back. You're behind Scott. He told me to say that. So we've been really busy. Revenue share, basically we just do all the work, monetize it. We'll do it all. Do it yourself. The best push platform that I've found, and we've tested a lot, if you want to do it on your own, is called pushengage.com. That's worth its weight in gold just for being here. I've tested a lot of stuff. One last item, Ed mentioned this at the beginning of the presentation. What really drives me, my whole office, our company, our teams are driven by, it's a scripture in the Bible called James 1:27. Basically, it talks about taking care of the orphan and the widow in their need. So if you come to my office, we've got pictures of orphans, more than an orphan really, on our walls that drive everyone in our company about what we're doing. So we're focused on very mission-oriented, driven. So taking care of others is what we do. This is a picture of a bunch of the boys in India. wearing shirts that Ed gave to them. My wife took them over there. So thank you, Ed, for that. It's always cool to see him in his shirt, isn't it? This is in India. We have over 350 boys now at this. Actually, it's a university now. So we're educating, we house, clothe. Just any of you have kids? Okay, you know what it takes. Picture 350 plus of them in your house, right? You have to clothe them, feed them, do everything you have to do to take care of them and raise them up so they're going to be successful in life. And that's what we're focused on doing there. So one of the best ways you could help me today is go to More Than an Orphan. And if you're not giving back in your businesses, I'll share this story too. I know I've got very minimal time.
You're good.
But this is what drives me, right? It's really what drives me. And even this last month out of a company we started, I give personally, but we actually started giving out of one of our companies in a different way. And I can tell you, it's been amazing the results you get when you start to give out of what you're doing. First month that we actually gave out of that new company, we had an immediate, it's not a new company, we just started to give in a different way. We had an immediate acquisition in our company where we were able to acquire another company, which has been a key technology win for us. It literally happened within a few weeks. I get an email and boom, done. I got an email, this was just in February when we started doing it out of this other company. I got an email, this is Wednesday now? Monday, from a company that said, hey, you overpaid us by $23,562 back. It was June 3rd of 2015. So we want to send you this money. I was like, what? Anybody ever get something like that? So I'll be very clear, our specific gift in February to this, out of that company, was $16,800. And it was already replaced like that on something from 2015. It's just crazy how that works. Then I get done with the acquisition of this other company. Literally within 10 minutes of that, I get an email about a large company wanting to acquire us. And I can't give any details on that, but it's just been like the last 30 or days or so since we have not always given, but I've found that when I do give, and I've been very focused on it for a long time now, just God takes care of everything. It just starts, everything comes together in your life. Whatever you want to call it, it starts to happen for you in ways that I couldn't orchestrate what just happened in the last 30 days on my own. I did nothing, but it was orchestrated. And I believe it's because I gave into the orphan and the poor and the widow. So I would encourage you, if you want to see business growth, the stuff I just taught you was awesome, but if you give into those who need it, what comes back to you is just so much more than you're ever going to be able to actually put in any numbers. Whether it's financial, whether it's just who you are as a person, how you feel about your business, it's huge. So I would encourage you to do that. So we need more beds. MoreThanAnorphan.com. Please visit it, become a part of what we're doing there, and thank you for your time today.
I actually scheduled like 5 minutes to answer questions.
Oh, you did?
So after that raving ovation, I'm pulling you back up here.
Okay.
Because you deserve all of it. All right, so any quick questions for Jeff on a tactical? Look at those hands. It's good. It's good stuff.
Real quick, just to clarify the different platforms. So Push Engage is if you want to do it on your own. It's the backbone. I was just looking at their website. What do you guys do that's different from that?
This is what we're living and breathing right now. So you can do it on yourself on that platform. You can set up all the triggers. What's really different is the segmenting part. We have a technology where if you just are gathering users, we'll actually put them into our technology. That's actually the acquisition that we just did. And we can ask a series of questions and then start to really monetize that list for yourself internally. So if we work with you on a revenue share, we can still continue business as usual with your business, but we're also going to add in our own network of offers that are going to help drive more value out of that list. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what we're focused on, yeah.
Fran?
Hey, question about the redirect. So let's say, for example, you were doing this on a video sales letter page, just a really simple one, and you have the pre-sale pop-up that comes up, and they were to say no. Could you just theoretically redirect them to a clone of the VSL page, or would you redirect them to do you have a special kind of page that you redirect them to?
With a VSL, I'd probably just keep them on the VSL.
Okay.
I wouldn't make them move.
And
That's go ahead.
you wouldn't you wouldn't care that you'd lose them forever from
Well, they're not.
Well,
you
no,
only
you don't
them
lose
if
them.
they go to the opt-in,
If they
right?
click no,
Opt-out, I mean.
they're just still on the screen. So you're not going to lose them. Yes or no, the message just disappears, and there's no difference in the user experience. So I've tested with the no depending on what it was. So you could test that to answer your question. Like if you're finding, hey, this user's not, if the pre-sale message they're not interested in, it might mean they're not interested in your VSL. So to answer your question, yes, you could push them into something else. Now I would test that a lot because depending how the media that got them to the site, they should be interested in it, if that makes sense. But you could definitely do that.
Go over.
Hey, Jeff, quick question for you. I mean, you talked about the positives of push notifications, but you didn't talk about the negatives. I'm sure there have been situations where maybe overusing it could have caused some negatives in your business. Can you share some of them with us?
I haven't found any yet.
Really?
I'm being very open, honest about it, yeah.
Nobody's left reviews of we're getting push notified, like
Nope.
up the...
Cambridge Analytica has not supported push notifications yet, so it's completely free
That's
reign.
true.
Okay.
That's a good question because I'm always looking at that. What's the negative effects? Our revenue just keeps growing. Our margins are growing. I might have a negative review. I haven't seen that. Yeah.
Hey Jeff, why do you use Push Engage over Push Crew?
Functionality and pricing are big. And their
Okay.
team, we have Push Crew accounts. Actually, we have an unlimited account with them. We pay a decent amount of money every month to have it. But Push Engage is a easier tool on targeting, segmenting. Data has been a big thing. Just even on a do-it-yourself basis, some of the things I was talking about, you can just use what they have and accomplish a lot. So you would switch? We're doing Push Crew, you would switch to Push? Yeah, we paid a lot up front for some unlimited stuff, but we're putting, everything that we do is within Push Engage while we're building out our own as well. So I think you need a mic.
Juan.
If you move from Push Crew to Push Engage, can you take your list or not?
So that's a great question. I didn't even talk about that. So all of your list is, Push Crew's a little interesting with this. They're going to charge you to do it, potentially. You can fight them on it. But you want to make sure you set up what's called your own FCN with Google. All this is stored in your Google account, all your users. And if you do that correctly, then you shouldn't have the problem. The challenge is and I totally didn't talk about that in this conversation, you want to do that. You want to own your list. They encourage you to do it, but even the way Push Crew is doing it, they actually still have their hands in it.
Well, for them, then it makes sense because they're going to create stickiness, pain of disconnect by not being totally, like the advice you just gave, they're not totally going to give you that advice.
They're not going to just tell you that. In
Yeah.
fact, you got to pry it out of them.
Another question, is there some sort of user unification? Like you know that this desktop user is a mobile user or not?
Yes, you could target down to, if you wanted to send a message to a specific device, you could do that as well. So a specific S7.
So you know that a guy that is logged in Chrome, you can also target them on their mobile device or not?
No, you can only target them on the device that they engaged with it.
Thank you.
Which a lot of cases is mobile because that's where a lot of our traffic is.
Scotty.
Is there any way to like trigger the notifications like out of Infusionsoft?
I don't work with Infusionsoft, but I imagine you could because we're working with different API technologies, and I would think you could. Yep.
All right, any last ones for Jeff?
All right.
Awesome, let's give it up for Jeff. Thanks, guys. Cool. It's 9:56 right now. 9:56 right now. We're going to take a 10-minute break. We're going to come back at 10:07. So that's actually 11 minutes if you didn't figure that out. And how to be a father of 8. Yes, father of 8. All right, see you guys in a little bit.